In the quiet suburbs of Waukesha, Wisconsin, life seemed ordinary, peaceful, and safe. Families trusted their neighborhoods, children played in parks, and schools thrived on routine. But beneath that tranquility, a chilling story would soon unfold. One that felt like fiction but was terrifyingly real. It was the summer of 2014, when three friends, barely teenagers, walked into the woods together. Only two of them knew the darkness they carried inside. The third had no idea her trust was about to be shattered. That day would stain Waukesha forever. At the center of this story is a figure not born of reality, but of the internet. A faceless, towering monster in a suit, known worldwide as Slender Man, created as a creepypasta in 2009. He became the subject of endless horror tales online. Children dared each other to look up his name late at night, whispering about his powers. According to the myth, he lived in forests, watching, waiting, and luring children away. Some saw him as protector, others as predator. For two young girls, he was something far worse, a master to obey. Their names were Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire, both 12 years old at the time. Intelligent, imaginative, but increasingly consumed by a fantasy world online. They stumbled deeper and deeper into Slender Man forums, where fiction blurred with belief. They weren't just scared, they were convinced he was real. To them, he wasn't just a story, but a presence that demanded proof of loyalty. They convinced themselves that if they didn't act, Slender Man would come for them. And so, a plan began to form. The target of that plan was someone who trusted them the most. Peyton Lutner, their classmate, their best friend, the one who laughed with them at sleepovers. She had no idea she was walking into a nightmare. To Morgan and Anissa, she was chosen as a sacrifice to prove their devotion. If they killed her, they believed, they would become Slender Man's proxies and be allowed into his mansion hidden deep in the woods. It wasn't just play anymore, it was deadly obsession. And it was all about to unfold. The weekend of May 31st, 2014, started like any other. The three girls had a sleepover, eating pizza, playing games, and staying up late. Nothing about that night suggested blood would be spilled the next day. But Morgan and Anissa carried their secret with them, an unshakable determination to kill. They tried once during hide and seek, but backed out. Their nerves betrayed them, their hesitation too strong. Yet the plan wasn't abandoned, it was postponed. They just needed the right moment. And that moment came the following morning. On that Saturday, the girls suggested going to the park. Peyton, still unaware of the looming danger, agreed happily. They laughed, played on the swings, and acted like normal children. Then came the fateful idea to explore the nearby woods. Peyton followed, trusting them completely, not knowing the blades hidden among them. Morgan carried a kitchen knife, nearly 5 inches long, tucked inside her waistband. Every step deeper into the trees carried them closer to violence. The forest grew quieter, the shadows grew longer, and the betrayal grew closer. Inside the woods, the mood shifted. They encouraged Peyton to lie down, pretending they were playing hide and seek. Anissa told her to cover herself with sticks and leaves, as if hiding. Then Morgan pulled out the knife. Fear lit Peyton's eyes, confusion gripped her mind, but she couldn't run. Morgan hesitated, but Anissa urged her on, whispering that it had to be done. And then, in a flurry of betrayal, the knife struck. Again and again until Peyton collapsed, bleeding into the dirt. 19 times in total. Her body trembled, her breath weakened. Each stab was an echo of madness. The knife tore through her chest, arms, and abdomen. One wound narrowly missed her heart by a millimeter. Another pierced her stomach, another cut into her liver. The brutality was beyond comprehension. And yet, in their minds, this was necessary. They believed they had pleased Slender Man, proven themselves worthy of his dark attention. As Peyton lay broken, Morgan and Anissa didn't stay to help. Instead, they told her to be quiet, to lie still, promising her they would get help. But they left her there to die. Peyton, bleeding and abandoned, refused to give in. Summoning impossible strength, she dragged herself through the forest floor. Each movement left a trail of red behind her, each breath a battle. She stumbled out of the woods, collapsing near a bike path where a passing cyclist spotted her. Gasping, weak, but alive, she whispered the truth. Her best friends had tried to kill her. Emergency responders rushed in, shocked by the sight of a child covered in blood yet clinging to life. Peyton had survived the unthinkable, but the story was only beginning. As Peyton fought for her life in the hospital, police searched for the two missing girls. Morgan and Anissa were found hours later, walking along a highway, the knife still in their backpack. Their destination? The Nicolet National Forest, where they believed Slender Man's mansion awaited. Calmly, they confessed to police that they had stabbed their friend to appease him. No remorse, no fear, just conviction that they had done what was necessary. Investigators were left speechless. How could children so young believe something so horrific? Interrogation tapes revealed chilling details. Morgan, with an unsettling calmness, described how she felt no choice but to kill. Anissa admitted she had been afraid of Slender Man, convinced he would harm her family if they failed. Together, they reinforced each other's delusions, spiraling deeper into fantasy. To adults, Slender Man was clearly fiction. To these girls, he was terrifyingly real. They weren't acting out of cruelty alone, they were acting out of belief. That distinction would haunt the courtroom for years to come. Was this evil or mental illness? Peyton's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. Despite 19 stab wounds, doctors managed to save her life. Her wounds healed, but the scars, both physical and emotional, would remain forever. She had been betrayed by the people she trusted most. The trauma of that day would follow her into adolescence, shaping every part of her future. Yet her survival became a story of strength. She was living proof that even in the face of pure horror, resilience could win. But while Peyton recovered, the fate of Morgan and Anissa took a darker path. The trial gripped the nation. Families watched in disbelief as two middle school girls faced charges of attempted first-degree murder. Prosecutors argued they had plotted with intent, showing premeditation. The defense countered with mental illness, especially in Morgan's case, as she was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. Experts debated, were they manipulators or manipulated? Could children this young fully comprehend the gravity of their crime? The courtroom became a stage for horror, confusion, and heartbreak. Every word spoken was a reminder that childhood innocence had been shattered. Anissa eventually accepted a plea deal, convicted of attempted second-degree homicide. She was sentenced to 25 years in a mental health institution. Morgan, whose schizophrenia diagnosis loomed large, was sentenced to 40 years in a psychiatric facility. Both would spend most of their lives under treatment, not prison bars. The decision sparked debate. Was justice truly served? Some felt sympathy, others demanded harsher punishment. Yet the reality remained. Two young girls had tried to kill in the name of a monster that never existed. And that truth was chilling enough. The story spread far beyond Wisconsin. Headlines across the world asked the same question. How could this happen? How could internet folklore drive children to nearly kill parents? Everywhere grew cautious, eyeing online stories and horror forums with suspicion. The case wasn't just about a stabbing. It was about the blurred line between imagination and reality in the digital age. Slender Man, once a joke of internet culture, became a name forever linked with blood. And for many, that name would never again be harmless. Meanwhile, Peyton found the courage to keep living. She went back to school, tried to rebuild friendships, and found therapy to heal the invisible wounds. Though she rarely spoke publicly, her survival itself was a testament to human strength. Her story wasn't one of death, but of life preserved against impossible odds. Yet she could never escape the memory. Every scar on her body was a reminder of betrayal. Every shadow in the woods could echo the laughter of the friends who turned into predators. She had endured horror, but she had endured. The chilling part of this story is not just the act of violence, but the innocence of those who committed it. Morgan and Anissa weren't hardened criminals. They weren't adults consumed by hatred. They were children, manipulated by fear, driven by delusion. That is what made the crime so incomprehensible. It shattered the idea that childhood is safe, that innocence is untouchable. It forced society to confront an uncomfortable truth. Even the youngest among us can be pulled into darkness if left unchecked. Documentaries, books, and news specials later examined the case in detail. They revealed just how deep the girls had gone into online creepypasta lore. Thousands of pages of Slender Man stories, drawings, and forums were uncovered in their search history. They weren't dabbling in a game. They were building a religion of fear around him. In their minds, he watched them, judged them, and demanded loyalty. To outsiders, it seemed absurd, but to two vulnerable children, it was as real as the trees in the woods. That belief nearly killed their friend. To this day, the phrase, Slender Man Stabbing, echoes with dread. It's not just a crime. It's a legend rooted in reality. A reminder that stories have power, and sometimes that power is deadly. For Peyton, it was a fight for survival. For Morgan and Anissa, it was a fall into madness. For the world, it was a wake-up call about the influence of the internet on fragile minds. In the end, Slender Man was never real, but the blood spilled in his name was, and that makes him terrifyingly unforgettable.